You weren't born to just survive. You were born to thrive. You were born with a fire inside of you, one that once burned with possibility, passion, and unstoppable drive. But somewhere along the way, life happened. You took some hits. You faced setbacks. You trusted and got hurt. You tried, and you failed. And slowly, that fire dimmed. Maybe it didn't go out completely, but it's not roaring like it once was. But here's the truth. Your fire is not gone. It's still there, buried under fear, disappointment, and doubt. Today, we're going to reignite it. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you felt truly alive? Not just okay, not just fine, but on fire. Like you were ready to take on anything. Like your soul was lit with purpose. That moment isn't a memory. It can be your new reality. The only thing that ever holds us back is the story we tell ourselves about what's possible. You've been telling yourself a story, maybe that you're too late, too broken, too tired, too old, too inexperienced. But that's a lie. It's time to rewrite that story right now. Because if you don't write the next chapter of your life, someone else will. And they won't write it in your favor. Fire doesn't start on its own. It needs friction, it needs fuel, and most importantly, it needs a decision. So what are you going to decide today? Are you going to keep letting the past write your future? Or are you going to wake up that part of you that knows you're meant for more? Let's talk about that word. Fire. What is fire made of? Fire is made of friction. You're going to be uncomfortable. You're going to be challenged. That's good. That's necessary. The greatest people on earth didn't rise because life was easy. They rose because they were forged in pressure. Diamonds are made under pressure. Muscles are built under resistance. Fire is ignited through friction, so embrace it. The very thing you're avoiding is the gateway to your next level. Fire needs fuel. Your fuel is your why. Why do you want more? Why are you tired of settling? Why are you done living beneath your potential? Your why must be so strong that it makes you cry. Because when you're tired, when you're lost, when you're knocked down, your why is the only thing that will make you get back up. And don't you dare say you don't know your why. You know it. You've just been too afraid to claim it. You've pushed it down because claiming it means risking failure. But what's worse? Failing or never even trying? Fire spreads. The moment you tap into your own fire, you light others. Your energy, your courage, your transformation, it becomes contagious. The world doesn't need more noise. It needs more people on fire with vision, purpose, and action. So today, I want you to make a choice. Not a wish, not a hope, a decision. That the line in the sand, that the excuses end here, that the small version of you has had its time. Now it's time for the bold version, the brave version, the relentless version. You've been waiting for motivation, for clarity, for the perfect timing. But here's the truth. You don't need motivation. You need movement. Clarity doesn't come before action. It comes from action. You don't need perfect timing. You need a perfect decision made in an imperfect moment. So what if you failed? So what if you've made mistakes? So what if no one believes in you? The world will start believing in you the moment you do. You want to change your life? then raise your standards, not your hopes, your standards. Decide what is no longer acceptable in your life. Decide what you will no longer tolerate, and more importantly, decide what you're willing to become. Some of you have spent too long in a mental prison of self-doubt and fear. Today, I want you to shatter the walls of that prison, step into your power, reclaim your voice, and remember who the hell you are. You are not your past, you are not your pain, you are not your mistakes. You are potential in motion. You are possibility waiting to explode. You are a force of nature, unapologetic, unstoppable, and And I know what some of you are thinking, but what if I try and I fail again? Let me flip that question. What if you try and you win? What if you take the leap and it works? What if you rise so high you could never go back to the life you've outgrown? You don't need a new year. You don't need permission. You don't need more time. You need to make a decision right now. I'm going to reignite my fire, not tomorrow, not next week, now. Because the cost of waiting is your life slipping through your fingers. Wake up, shake yourself, say it with me. This is my time. I will no longer live in fear. I will no longer dim my light. I am not done. I am just getting started. Feel that? That's your fire coming back. Let it burn. Your fire never died. It just needs your decision to rise again. Deep inside every human being is a burning energy, a pulse, a force that drives them toward greatness. That fire is not something you buy. It's not something you borrow from others. And it's not something that disappears just because life has tried to drown it. That fire is your identity. It's the hunger you felt when you had a dream before the world told you to be realistic. It's the voice inside that still whispers, there's more to you. The problem is never that the fire died, it's that you stopped feeding it. You covered it up with doubt, with fear, with comfort, with excuses. You let other people's opinions become your thermostat. You lowered your heat because you thought it would make others more comfortable. You traded your flame for fitting in. But deep down, you always knew you were meant for more. You always knew there was something inside of you waiting to be unleashed. Something that can't be tamed by routine or small thinking. You don't need a miracle. You need a moment, a decision, where you choose to stop dimming your light and start showing up like the fire starter you were born to be. You've been playing small because it's safe. You've been holding back because failing hurts. But let me remind you, playing small won't spare you from pain. It just guarantees you never feel the thrill of becoming who you're meant to be. The world didn't shape you. You shaped yourself around the world. That fire inside you, it's still there, and it's furious. It's waiting for you to give it permission to roar again. No one can relight your fire but you. Not your parents, not your partner, not your friends, not a motivational video or a book. You. It takes a single decision, a real one, not the kind you make with your lips, but the kind that shifts your bones. A decision where you say, I am done settling. I am done waiting. I am done being less than I was built to be. You don't have to know the whole path. You just have to light the spark. The fire will show you the way. That decision, that bold act of choosing to believe in your own power again is the flint. The friction of that belief against your doubt is what creates the heat. The willingness to act without certainty is what creates the flame. You don't reignite your fire by thinking about it. You do it by moving, by taking one step even while you're scared, by saying yes before the fear talks you out of it, by standing up when everything in you says lie down. Your fire doesn't die just because your plans didn't work out. It doesn't die just because someone walked away. It doesn't die because you made mistakes. It's resilient, it's patient, and it's ready. What it needs is for you to stop ignoring it. Stop burying it under distractions, overthinking, and self-pity. Start listening to that gut feeling that you're made for more. That quiet inner roar that says, I'm not done. You're not broken. You're not behind. You're not lost. You've just been quiet. You've been waiting for the right time. But the right time isn't coming. The fire doesn't need perfect timing. It needs a spark. That's it. Just one brave choice. One moment of courage, one breath of belief, and everything changes. You don't need motivation, you need movement. Motivation is a feeling, a spark that comes and goes like the wind. It's unreliable, fleeting, and often dependent on your mood or your environment. If you keep waiting for motivation to show up before you act, you'll keep waiting for the rest of your life. The truth is, the people who change the world, who transform their lives, who rise from nothing to greatness, aren't the ones who felt motivated every day. They are the ones who moved, who took action when it was uncomfortable, when they were scared, when they had every excuse to stay still. Movement creates momentum. It's the first domino. It wakes something up inside of you that motivation never can. Motivation asks for permission, but movement demands results. You might not feel ready. You might not feel strong, but the moment you start moving, physically, mentally, emotionally, you begin to unlock strength you didn't know you had. Action fuels belief. You act, you learn, you adjust. That's how confidence is built. That's how clarity is formed. You want to know why you're stuck? It's not because you lack motivation. It's because you've stopped moving. You've let your thoughts paralyze you. You've let your emotions dictate your potential. You've built stories around why it's not the right time, why you're not qualified, why it's too risky. But stories don't change your life. Action does. The smallest step in the right direction beats the biggest intention with no follow-through. You keep reading, watching, planning, hoping, but nothing changes until you move. The gym doesn't make you strong unless you move the weight. The business doesn't grow unless you make the calls. The dream doesn't come to life unless you start building brick by brick, even when no one is watching. My brain is wired to keep you safe, not to make you great. It wants comfort, routine, predictability. But greatness lives in motion. It lives in that uncomfortable place where you act without guarantees, where you move before you feel ready, where you trust that progress will come if you just refuse to stay still. The breakthrough you want doesn't come from thinking more. It comes from doing more, from putting yourself in the arena, from failing forward, from letting action be your teacher. Every time you move, you prove to yourself that you're capable. That builds internal fire. That creates the real kind of motivation. The one that's earned, not borrowed. Motivation is a mood. Movement is a habit. The people you admire, the ones you wish you could become, didn't sit around waiting for inspiration. They got up, they started, they were scared, but they moved. They were uncertain, but they acted because they understood the secret. Motion changes You don't get energized by sitting still. You get energized by engaging, by showing up, by sweating through the fear, by moving forward even if it's messy. And with every move, your mind shifts. You stop overthinking and start becoming. You stop doubting and start doing. You stop living in potential and start stepping into power. Motivation might get you started once in a while, but movement is what will keep you going forever. Movement is commitment. Movement is progress. Movement is the only proof that you're serious about your next level. Stop waiting to feel ready. Stop hoping for a perfect mood. Start moving. Let your action lead your emotion. Let your steps speak louder than your thoughts. Let your body, your voice, your decisions carry you toward the version of yourself that doesn't just wish for change, but creates it with every single move. The pain you're avoiding is the path to your power. Most people run from pain. They numb it, bury it, distract themselves from it, pretend it's not there. But pain is not your enemy, it's your compass. It's the very thing that's trying to wake you up. Inside that pain is a message, a lesson, a doorway to the version of you that you've only dreamed of becoming. You cannot become strong without being stretched. You cannot become fearless without walking through fear. You cannot become powerful if you keep dodging the very fire that forges you. Every person who's ever risen beyond average has faced their pain head on. They didn't run from it. They used it. They let it carve them, mold them, sharpen them. Pain is not the thing that breaks you, it's the thing that shapes you. And the longer you run from it, the longer you stay small, stuck, silent. You have pain in your story for a reason. Maybe you were rejected. Maybe you failed. Maybe you were betrayed, abandoned, ignored, overlooked. And it hurt. It left a scar. But that scar is not a weakness. It's proof that you survived. Proof that you're still standing. And inside of it is your secret weapon. Your strength, your empathy, your drive, your hunger. They are born in your lowest moments. You want real growth? Stop wishing it was easier. Start using what hurt you to fuel you. The pain you feel is not punishment, it's potential. It's trying to show you what matters. It's trying to burn away the lies. It's trying to get you to rise. You think success is found in peace, in comfort, in safety, but it's found in the struggle, in the setbacks, in the moments you wanted to quit but didn't. The very thing you're avoiding is the exact thing that will unlock your greatness. You keep waiting for life to get easier, but ease never creates excellence. You want to be unshakable? Face what shakes you. You want to be confident? Walk through what scares you. You want to lead, to inspire, to build something real? Then stop pretending pain isn't part of the process. It is the process. You don't get to become powerful without being broken open first. The wound is where the light gets in. The pain is where the transformation starts. You think you're lost because you feel pain, but you're actually closer to your power than ever before. Because pain demands attention. It pulls you into the present. It forces you to look at what's not working, what needs to change, what you've been ignoring for too long. Pain is the alarm clock for your potential. It says, wake up, there's more inside you. But only if you're brave enough to stop numbing and start listening. Most people numb with distractions, scrolling, comfort, addiction, routine, but you are not most people. You're here to rise. And that rise begins when you stop turning away from pain and start walking through it like it's your teacher. What if the thing you've been trying to forget is the exact thing that will set you free? What if the tears you cried were watering your future? What if your heartbreak was the hammer that broke the old you so the real you could be built? You've been given this pain not to suffer, but to spark a change, to rebuild stronger, clearer, bolder. That power you're searching for isn't somewhere out there. It's buried in the pain you've been avoiding. And when you finally face it, not as a victim, but as a warrior, everything shifts. The fear loses its grip. The doubts begin to fade. And in the mirror, you don't just see a survivor. You see someone who has earned their power through the fire. Raise your standards, and your life will rise with them. Everything you allow in your life is a reflection of what you believe you deserve. If you tolerate average, you get average. If you accept less than your worth, you live less than your potential. Standards are not wishes or goals, they are boundaries. They are the invisible rules you live by, the baseline you refuse to drop below. When you truly raise your standards, you don't need to shout it, post it, or prove it to anyone. Your actions show it, your habits reflect it, your energy shifts. You stop entertaining things, people, and patterns that no longer align with who you're becoming. You start walking differently, speaking differently, showing up with a level of intention and confidence that tells the world you've made a decision about who you are and what you will no longer accept. People don't get what they want, they get what they tolerate. If you tolerate chaos, it stays. If you tolerate procrastination, it controls you. If you tolerate disrespect, it repeats. But the moment you raise your standards, the world around you starts to shift. Not because it changed, but because you did. You trained it how to treat you, and now you're retraining it. You start attracting people who operate at a higher level because you've left behind the energy that kept you small. You stop making excuses and start building discipline. You stop blaming circumstances and start taking ownership. Raising your standards isn't about perfection. It's about refusing to live in patterns that drain your power, your peace, or your purpose. Look at every area of your life: your health, your mindset, your relationships, your income, your environment. Every single one is a mirror of your current standards. The results don't lie. And if you're not happy with what you see, don't blame the mirror, change the standard. Declare that enough is enough. That your time, your energy, your future are too valuable to be wasted on things that don't elevate you. That the version of you who settles is no longer allowed to make decisions. When your standards go up, your excuses go down. You stop waiting for motivation and you build momentum. You stop looking for shortcuts and you commit to the process. Because people with high standards don't chase comfort, they chase excellence. This isn't about being better than anyone else. It's about being better than your old self, competing with who you were yesterday, not to prove a point, but because you respect your potential too much to stay stagnant. And the powerful thing about standards is that once you raise them, your identity follows. You start believing, not hoping. You start leading, not following. You start becoming, not pretending. And it becomes your new normal. You don't have to fight for it every day, you just live it. Because anything less would feel out of alignment. You already know where your standards need to rise. There's a voice inside of you that's been whispering it for months, maybe even years. A knowing that you were meant for more, but you've been keeping the bar low because it was easier. But ease never changed anyone's life. If you want real change, lasting change, identity level change, you have to raise the bar and keep it there. No more dipping back into old habits when life gets tough. No more negotiating with your lower self. No more calling it self-care when it's actually self-sabotage. This is about commitment, about deciding once and for all that your life will match the level of your potential, not the level of your excuses. When you change what you accept, you change what you experience. When you set a new standard, everything around you has to rise or fall away. You are not your past, You are your potential in motion. Too many people wear their past like a name tag, introducing themselves with the weight of who they used to be. They carry their mistakes, their regrets, their pain like a badge, believing that what happened to them or what they did defines who they are today. But the truth is, your past is a chapter, not the whole book. It's a reference, not a residence. Whatever you've been through, whatever you've done, whatever you've lost, it does not control what you can still become. The only power your past holds is the power you continue to give it. And the moment you stop feeding it, stop reliving it, stop giving it permission to drive your present, you unlock a force inside of you that can transform everything. Your story is not set in stone. It is written in choice, rewritten in courage, and directed by the vision you choose to create today. You are not bound by what you didn't know, what you didn't do, or what didn't work out. You are fueled by what you're willing to do now. The future doesn't care how long you've been stuck. It doesn't care how many times you've failed. It only responds to your current direction. The moment you shift your focus from your past to your potential, you begin to take back the pain. You begin to tell a different story. Not a story of what hurt you, but of how it shaped you. Not of what broke you, but of how you rebuilt stronger. Your past is only heavy when you keep carrying it forward. But when you turn it into wisdom, it becomes your fuel, not your prison. You've survived what was meant to destroy you. That alone proves there's more in you than you've allowed yourself to believe. But survival is not the same as living. It's time to stop surviving your history and start building your destiny. You are not here to repeat patterns. You are here to create breakthroughs. That fire inside you isn't based on who you used to be, it's based on who you're becoming. Every step you take, every choice you make, every time you push through resistance, you are becoming more of the person your past tried to convince you didn't exist. You are not broken, you are becoming. Every limitation that's been spoken over you, every label you've accepted, every lie you've believed about your worth, it all loses power the moment you decide to stop identifying with it. You don't need to forget your past, you just need to stop living from it. Use it as a reminder of how far you've come, not a reason to stay stuck. The mistakes you made, the chances you missed, the time you feel you wasted, those are not anchors unless you keep tying yourself to them. Your potential is not in yesterday, it's in right now. In this breath, in this decision, in this new direction. People will try to define you by your past because it's all they've seen. But you're not obligated to live in their version of your story. You are not the old you. You are not who you were when you didn't know better. You are the you that's learning, evolving, and refusing to settle. You're the you that shows up differently. The you that knows pain but also knows purpose. The you that isn't perfect, but is persistent. That's where your power is, in the motion, in the growth, in the relentless decision to keep becoming better than you were yesterday. You are not the sum of your scars. You are the author of your future. You are not your past. You are your potential in motion.